what expenses qualify? Basically everything. Wages incurred, the materials you've incurred to do the R&D. Contracts, for example, perhaps there's a small component of expertise that you don't have that you want to contract out to have somebody else do that for you, or the whole thing for you. That's fine. It's still your R&D because you're going to maintain the IP for the intellectual property. So it's still your R&D. You can contract that out. And of course, the equipment. You heard Dr. Julian talk about the microwave for $85 microwave. Well, that all goes in. You can write the whole thing off. Plus, we'll give you $30 back, so your microwave is now $55. So that's a pretty good deal. Third-party payments. This is stuff to approved associations like the university, for example. So you saw all the stuff that's going on today at the university. If you had a business that that technology relates to, that if you say, well, you know what, if they figure that out, that's a good fit for my business, why don't I throw some money at that research? That qualifies under the program, even though it's not your R&D. All you need to have is some right to exploit that result, which the university will give you if you're throwing money at it. So, that's all it is to it. So if you want to help fund that because you think you can use the technology once they develop it, that qualifies as well. And then, of course, all your overheads that relate to the work you're doing. Sometimes that's hard to track. So we have two methods. One is the regular where you track your overheads for R&D, and one is a notional calculation called the proxy method, where we just say, look, here's your wages, take 65% of that, and that's your overheads. Then you don't have to figure it out. Because it can get pretty complex once you move into what we call shop floor R&D, where you have commercial activities and SR&ED activities going on at the same time. Pretty hard to segregate sometimes. Generally, if you're highly labor intensive, the proxy works, and if you have a high manufacturing overheads, I mean, those are kind of extremes, then the traditional method works. The only thing I was going to say as well is the program. Everybody thinks that it's because it stops at pre-commercialization. It's an early development, early product development, which is true. However, you can also run into problems where you say, okay, I've developed my product, tested my prototype, now I'm going to scale it up. It doesn't work. I have a technological problem why it doesn't work. So you're still trying to advance that technology, and while you're trying to solve that problem, basically it's like a new project. You have a new advancement you're trying to achieve and a new uncertainty, because the uncertainty is it doesn't work in scale up. That program kicks in again. Then you might get it to a point where it's working, and you've got some sort of 5-step process, manufacturing process or whatever, and you go, well, look, step 3 is not really working very well, so we want to do something at step 3. So again, we want to advance the technology at step 3 to streamline the process. Our program kicks in again. But what you have to be careful of is you have commercial stuff going on with R&D stuff going on, and that's where our financial guys are going to go, well, look, we can't allow you to claim commercial costs because the OECD doesn't like that. So we have to be able to distinguish that. And that's very important for us to do that, because I told one gentleman earlier today that we've been reviewed by the Auditor General, of course, and they say, we don't care why you disallow stuff, which is interesting, but they go, you're giving away $4 billion, you better have a good reason for giving it away, right? Which makes sense. As a taxpayer, you want to know, why are we throwing $4 billion out the door? What are we getting for it? So we have to make sure that the money's going to the right stuff, which is not commercial activities. Just a couple of services we provide. We provide a first-time claimant service. So if you've never heard of the program, or you're thinking you might have something, I can send either myself or send a couple of guys out, a financial guy and a technical guy. They'll come and talk to you at your place of business, see what you're doing, tell you a bit more detail about the program and what I'm doing in 15 minutes, tell you the kind of records you have to keep, how to write up a project description. We won't go find the projects for you. There's guys that do that, like Mark, for example, but we will help you with what you have right there, or help you put the claim together. We have a pre-claim project review as well, where if you have a project, you think, well, I think this might qualify, or I'm thinking of doing this, and I want to know if it qualifies because I can only do it if I'm going to get the 35 cents on the dollar. If you have that, we will come out and do a pre-claim project review, and we just talk to you about what you're doing, what you want to do, and we kind of give you an opinion there that says, okay, if you're going to go down this road, you will qualify. Here's the expenditures you can and can't claim, blah, blah, blah. So now you have certainty before you even do the work that's going to qualify, and I'm going to get 35 cents on the dollar back. So we want to give certainty as early as we possibly can. The account executive service, I won't say too much about it. It's usually for the larger companies where they have a lot of projects year after year. We just put a guy in there with them to talk about what they're doing as it's ongoing, and then we don't have to do this big review at the end when they have 200 projects. So But again, it's a service we provide to work with the companies. And we have done it in some cases with smaller companies as well that have continuing SR&ED and sometimes multiple projects. I think that's it, yeah. This is my contact information. I just put it on there in case you wanted to get a hold of me more. That's it. Questions?